Checked. Is this too bright? A little bit. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Debbie and I make videos about the law and I try to make it, I don't know, accessible and not weird. And today we are talking about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case. Surprise, surprise. And I just want to say before we get into it, welcome to all the new subscribers. I can't believe we're at 1,500 subscribers now. Can't believe it. Thank you so much, and hopefully you enjoy my videos. So yeah, thank you. But yeah, let's get right into it. Some new developments in the case. So I want to shout out to Nerdette's Newsstand. I got this link from her video. Go check her out and subscribe to her if you have not already. Alright, so this is from the Daily Mail article, which looks like another leak. We love to see it. So this one has to do with the ACLU and their involvement with Amber Heard's op-ed that she wrote, which is basically the basis for this whole lawsuit. Ugh, so many ads, oh my god. Okay. Like I can't even it's driving me nuts. Okay. It says emails obtained by Daily Mail suggest Amber Heard, 35, had minimal input in her Washington Post op-ed on domestic abuse published December 2018. See, to me that already reads like it's trying to minimize and shift blame, which I don't know if that's, well, depending on the way you look at it, if your intention is to hold Amber Heard accountable, that might be definitely a way she's able to shift blame. So that's one thing I'm noticing right away. It says documents reveal ACLU staff came up with the idea for her to write the essay now titled "I Spoke Up Against Sexual Violence and Faced Our Culture's Wrath." Op-ed went through multiple legal revisions, with Heard's lawyer anxious not to mention Depp by name or breach the couple's non-disclosure agreement. Depp later sued Heard for libel, claiming the article included references to their failed marriage and falsely labeled him as an abuser, but the unearthed emails which show ACLU had actually penned the piece and could drag the organization deeper into the toxic lawsuit. Depp's attorney Adam Waldman told Daily Mail the emails prove the ACLU wrote Heard's false op-ed for her and were co-conspirators from the start. Last week, the actress sued the ACLU to force them to reveal if Heard ever honored a 2016 pledge to donate half her divorce money to this nonprofit. In her own filings, Heard does not claim to be the sole author of the op-ed, stating that she wrote it with the assistance and advice of others. So it says here, the bitter defamation lawsuit is now brewing, suggesting Heard had minimal input, went through multiple legal revisions, but when it appeared in the Washington Post, Depp sued instead for libel, arguing the 1,000-word essay entitled "I Spoke Up Against Sexual Violence and Faced Our Culture's Wrath" was a clear reference to their failed marriage and falsely labeled him as an abuser. Okay, 3 years on the ACLU is threatening to drag the non-profit deeper into the toxic lawsuit. Depp's lawyers hint it could even see them added as a defendant, which in a way I think could be good or bad. If they are added as a defendant to this current lawsuit, it's good in the way where, let's say if Johnny does win, what if he wins and the judge says, okay, I agree with you here, I think that Amber Heard should pay you $50 million. What if she doesn't have $50 million? There's a saying in law, you can't get water out of a stone. Same shit. Let's say if Amber Heard doesn't have $50 million and he's screwed, he can't really collect. But if he adds somewhat like a corporation like this, at least he knows he'll get paid. But also on the flip side, they have a lot of money, so they can afford to do the back and forth, and she will also be more powerful because she has them as an ally, so they'll be in it together. So it could be good or bad. The new trove of emails finally proves one of the things that ACLU has fought for years to hide. They wrote Amber Heard's false op-ed for her and were co-conspirators with Miss Heard from the start, Depp's attorney Adam Waldman told Daily Mail. Those who scheme, write, and publish defamation, even purported free speech advocates, are not immune from the consequences. ACLU is already facing a May 28th deadline deadline to respond to a barrage of subpoenas from Depp's legal team. We want to know if Heard ever honored a public 2016 pledge to donate half her divorce money, some $3.5 million, to the vaunted civil rights group. Now, previously seen correspondence obtained by Daily Mail reveals staff came up with the idea for the op-ed when they appointed Heard an ambassador on women's rights in late 2018. They appointed her the ambassador, so why are they asking her to do this? Is this like, are they on her PR team or what? I just don't understand why they're pushing this role upon her. It says, "Hi Jody, I'd like your and Amber's thoughts on doing an op-ed in which she discusses the ways in which survivors of gender-based violence have been made less safe under the Trump administration, and says how people can take action. It can be time for sometime after 11/14 when it's time to remind the newly elected Congress of their priorities. Her ambassador title could appear in her byline and announced in social media promotion of the piece. An op-ed can argue it's time to make sure leaders take GBVs seriously by highlighting following Congress's delay in reauthorizing VAWA, ACLU's lawsuit against Sessions over a new asylum rule he implemented against asylum seekers fleeing domestic violence." So I guess it's trying to promote their own stuff. New Title X rule expecting Betsy DeVos to issue. Could roll back protections for sexual assault survivors on college campuses. Can mention Trump's irresponsible attacks on Christine Blasey Ford and survivors who don't report right away. If she feels comfortable, she can interweave her personal story, saying how painful it is as a GBV survivor to witness these setbacks. Target publications could include digital outlets. Would this be of interest? And would you like us to do the first draft, or would Amber prefer to start it off? We need this to pass through a few lawyers first. Let me know your edits. You should show this to your attorney. I want to make sure nothing was sent here that puts you in jeopardy with your NDA. That didn't age well. So, hi Amber, hope your travel has been going great. It's been a total pleasure to talk with you. Tried to gather your fire and rage and really interesting analysis and shape that into op-ed form. Mentions of a few policies. Oh, why does she have to be raged about? Sorry for the many lawyers have reviewed it, tweaked the policies. Your lawyers should review this for the way I skirted around talking about your marriage. Thank you so much, Amber and Sean. I so appreciate your work to protect Amber and also make this piece true to her experience. I'd love to hop on a phone call if you're available. Got a brilliant solution for the paragraph about not talking about the marriage. My concern is this paragraph. Then 2 years ago, after I got a temporary restraining order against my then husband, I felt the full force of our culture's wrath from women who speak out. The day I left the courtroom and walked into a pack of hundreds of photographers, I didn't have a team of bodyguards. My lawyers used their own bodies to block out space for me to walk to my car. The whole way there I heard press yelling the same question in one form or another. Is it true y'all making this up? Oh my god. This woman, okay? Like, okay. I remember when we were going through the UK trial, there were text messages that came out where Amber Heard was texting Io saying that TMZ would be there. She was saying they'll be there on Monday. So this was prior to the court filing where she filed for a temporary restraining order. Said TMZ will be there, meaning that she would have had to call them. Even though she said that, oh, it was just a coincidence. Like, the text message shows that she did either she called them herself or she knew they were going to be there. She's trying to make it seem like, oh, I was just bombarded by photographers. It's like, bitch, you called them there, okay? Inauthenticity. Could we cut the words marriage, divorce, and restraining order and say this below? If we don't say something like, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, the rest of the piece doesn't really make sense. Okay, so they're the one pushing for that term. They're pushing for her to say, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse. So it looks like they're the ones that fought for her to say that. It's not clear whether Amber is talking about the abuse she witnessed as a child, what was the pivotal moment that changed things for her, or why she knows about institutions protecting accused perpetrators. Then 2 years ago, after I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, I felt the full force of our culture's wrath from women who speak out. Once I had to walk into a pack of hundreds of photographers, many of them yelling the same question in one form or another. Is it true you're making all this up? Here's the whole piece in latest form. The only big changes are third and fourth paragraphs. I just don't like how she's trying to spin that incident into her being the victim when, like I said, either she called them or she knew they were going to be there. I don't know. I'm going to insert a clip here of her lawyer just giving an interview, like a little mini interview to the photographers.
He can confirm that Amber Heard has filed a domestic violence restraining order against Johnny Depp. The 30-year-old actress showed up to a Los Angeles courthouse on Friday with a bruise on her face.
He issued a restraining order based on the evidence that he received, and there will be a further hearing in June.
She filed for divorce on Monday.
All of this, in my opinion, was for PR, to make a scene. So I just don't like how she's framing this as like she got attacked. Keep it real, girl. By Amber Heard. I was exposed to abuse at a very early age. I knew certain things young without ever having to be told. I knew that men have the power physically, socially, and financially, and that a lot of institutions support that arrangement. I knew this long before I had the words to articulate it, and I bet you learned it young too. Like many women, by the time I was college age, I had been harassed and sexually assaulted. But I kept quiet. I did not expect filing complaints to bring justice, and I didn't see myself as a victim. Then, 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse. Okay, time out. It's difficult for people not to know who you're talking about when you give a specific time frame. Like, I don't know. What happened 2 years ago? What allegations were out there like 2 years ago? Like, it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to know who she's talking about. Just saying. Once I had to walk into a pack of hundreds of photographers, many of them yelling the same question in one form or another. Is it true you're making all this up?
Hey, Amber.
Amber, did Johnny give you that bruise on your face?
Amber,
did Johnny beat you up?
Stop.
Did Johnny brutalize you?
Stop.
Amber?
You guys, she showed a lot of encouragement.
Are you okay, Amber? You look upset.
Move back, guys.
How are you doing?
You're going the wrong way.
Get her through. Get her through.
Amber.
Amber, how are you feeling?
Amber, are you going to go to the doctor? Are you okay? Are you going to go to the hospital, Amber?
Excuse me. Hey.
Amber, what do you have to say to Johnny? Are you getting support from any of Johnny's family? Thank you.
Best of luck, Amber. Good job, Amber.
Since so many of you liked the dramatic reading last time, maybe we'll give it a dramatic reading. Like, what? How would Amber read this? Let's get into character. I was exposed to abuse at a very early age. I knew certain things young without ever having to be told. I knew that men have the power, physically, socially, and financially, and that a lot of institutions support that arrangement. I knew this long before I had the words to articulate it, and I bet you learned it young too. Like many women, by the time I was college age, I had been harassed and sexually assaulted. I kept quiet. I did not expect filing complaints to bring justice, and I didn't see myself as a victim. Then 2 years ago, after I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out. Once I had to walk into a pack of hundreds of photographers, many of them yelling the same question in one form or another. Is it true you're making all this up? I'm not going to talk here about any specific relationship in my life. What happened to me publicly is more interesting and revealing than anything that transpired within any relationship anyway, because it shows how institutions protect men accused of abuse. Friends and advisors told me I'd never work again as an actress. My own lawyer told me I would be blacklisted. Sure enough, a movie I was attached to recast my role. I had just shot a 2-year campaign as the face of a global fashion brand, and the company dropped me. Questions arose as to whether I'd be able to keep my role of Mira in the movies Justice League and Aquaman. Was I afraid? Terrified would be a better word. I believed I might lose my livelihood and my ability to provide for my family. No studios stood behind me, fighting to make me a multi-million-dollar franchise work. Imagine a powerful man as a ship, like the Titanic. This is not a reference to Johnny Depp or Captain Jack Black Sparrow. That ship is a huge enterprise. When it strikes an iceberg, there are a lot of people on board desperate to patch up holes, not because they believe in or even care about this enterprise, but because their own fates depend on it. In recent years, the Me Too movement has taught us about how power like this works, not just in the Hollywood machine, but in all kinds of institutions, workplaces, places of worship, or simply in particular communities. In every walk of life, women are confronting these ships that are buoyed by social, economic, and cultural power. And these institutions are beginning to change. We are in a transformative political moment. The president of our country has been accused by more than a dozen women of sexual misconduct, including assault, groping, and harassment. Outrage over his statements and behavior has energized a female-led opposition. Hashtag #MeToo started a conversation about just how profoundly sexual violence affects women in every area of our lives. And last month, more women were elected to Congress than ever in our history, with a mandate to take women's issues seriously. Women's rage and determination to end sexual violence is turning into a political force. We have an opening now to bolster and build institutions protective of women. For starters, Congress can reauthorize and strengthen the Violence Against Women Act. First passed in 1994, VAWA is one of the most effective pieces of legislation enacted to fight domestic violence and sexual assault. It creates support systems for people who report abuse, providing funding for rape crisis centers, legal assistance programs, and other critical services. It improves responses by law enforcement, and it prohibits discrimination against LGBT survivors. Funding for VAWA expired in September and has only been temporarily extended. We should continue to fight sexual assault on college campuses while simultaneously insisting on fair processes for adjudicating complaints. Last month, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos proposed changes to rules known as Title IX governing the treatment of sexual harassment and assault in schools. While some changes would make the process for handling complaints more fair, others would weaken protections for sexual assault survivors. For example, the new rules would require schools to investigate only the most extreme complaints, and then only when they are made to designated high-level officials. Women on college campuses already have trouble coming forward about sexual violence. Why would we allow institutions to scale back supports? And we must protest recent changes that have stopped officials from granting asylum to immigrant women who are fleeing domestic and sexual violence. I grew up in South Texas on my dad's construction sites, and I have met many women who came here seeking refuge from sexual and domestic violence. In denying them asylum, the Trump administration is reverting to the old attitude that this is a private matter, ignoring government's inability or unwillingness to protect women. For many, the United States is their only hope to escape. If we do not offer these vulnerable people refuge, do our ideals mean anything? I know social norms are hard to change, and the backlash is powerful. I write this as a woman who had to change my phone number once a week because I was getting death threats. You're comparing yourself to these people? To these poor women? Oh my god, okay. Broke character there for a second. For months, I rarely left my apartment, and when I did, I was pursued by camera drones and photographers on foot, on motorcycles, and in cars. Tabloid news outlets that posted pictures of me spun them in a negative light. I felt like I was on trial in the court of public opinion, and my life and livelihood depended on myriad judgments far beyond my control. I want to ensure that women who come forward to talk about violence receive more support. We are electing representatives who know how deeply we care about these issues. We can work together to demand changes to laws and rules and social norms, and to right the imbalances that have shaped our lives. Let me know what works for you, and I will adjust accordingly. Hey there, thank you so much for all the help you've given me in making sure that this article conveys its message and my voice, and also doesn't further complicate already complicated legal situations. However, there's one part of the final draft that was originally nixed by your team and I pushed back on getting some of that language reincorporated back into it so that my voice is still present and it's relevant to my experience. However, there's one piece that's missing from the draft as it stands now that's kind of needed. And after speaking to my team of the ACLU, I think it's best if we all hopped on a call for 5 minutes. So Eric George, which is Amber Heard's lawyer at the time anyway, he said, "Robin, all good except that edit is a no-go. Please explain to the Post that one cannot reveal discussions with a lawyer without waiving the attorney-client privilege. Can't let that happen here, especially since the edit adds nothing. Amber can simply say that an advisor made that statement to her. Okay? Thanks, E." Well, she did waive the attorney-client privilege, unfortunately. This is why they say listen to your lawyers, people. Lawyers know best. Okay? So Robin Schulman at ACLU says, "Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Here's the edit back from the Washington Post. The only real change I noticed was in the very first line when they cut the first mention of being an early witness to abuse. I added the bit about one of my own lawyers in bold. Amber, can you take a look by tomorrow morning 9 a.m. so we can get back to them, and Jess will get back to you about talking points. Thank you again. Added the bit about one of my own lawyers." So basically they're saying that whole paragraph's gotta go. Sign an agreement not to talk about marriage, and I will not do that here. In any event, far more revealing because it shows how institutions protect men of abuse. I write this article as a woman who had to change my phone number once a week because I was getting death threats. Posted pictures of me, spun them in a negative light. En route to my lawyer and my therapist. Her lawyer, Eric George, sounded a note of caution, striking out obvious references to Depp and warning any mention of their disastrous 18-month marriage would land her in court. Any reference at all to marriage or divorce, even to say either the word marriage or divorce and then elaborate that you are not in fact talking about it, is a technical violation, he wrote. Would a reasonable ex or his lawyer object? Of course not. Will the opposing side that we're dealing with? Likely yes. I mean, enough is enough, I guess. Heard and Schulman were keen to mention how the Aquaman actress sought a restraining order after her breakup, but that was similarly nixed. I still think Eric's edit still gets us 95% of what you want. I say send it off and damn the torpedoes ahead. Damn the torpedoes ahead. It's almost like this was trying to start a war or something, or it's almost like the intention was, it's almost like they woke up and chose violence that day. Op-ed was published in the Washington Post website 6 days later and appeared in print the next day. So the actor is fighting an uphill battle to salvage reputation after Britain's High Court rejected separate defamation claim against the Sun newspaper. Friends say he's determined to fight on and won't contemplate settling the Virginia case, which accuses Heard of creating a hoax account of being a domestic violence survivor to boost her career. In her own filings, Heard does not claim to be the sole author of the op-ed, stating that she wrote it with the assistance and advice of others. She says the op-ed speaks for itself and maintains her allegations of domestic violence are true. Heard's legal team has asked the judge to toss the case, arguing Depp's arguments were dismantled in the earlier London proceedings. They have countersued for $100 million, cataloging the years of alleged abuse she suffered at the hands of the monster and accusing Waldman of smearing her in the media. Good luck, like, kind of proving that, but I don't even know if her case will even get to the point where you have to prove the damages. I don't know. We'll see. All the evidence has already been fully considered and decided in a legal action brought by Mr. Depp. Well, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. They agreed to $7 million divorce settlement, and she vowed to give the windfall to charity, splitting it between ACLU and Children's Hospital. Back in January, Daily Mail revealed correspondence between Heard and hospital management, suggested she only give them $100,000, way short of the promised $3.5 million gift. ACLU was subpoenaed for the same information, but has thus far refused to cooperate with multiple subpoenas. Heard's lawyers say she intended to fulfill her pledge eventually, blaming her expensive legal battles with Depp for the delay. The Virginia case won't go before a jury until next year because of a backlog of trials caused by the pandemic. Okay, so I guess that's the end of the articles. Hey guys, quick little note from editing me. So, looks like Amber is already trying it. There was a pledge form that got leaked, I believe, that said that the pledge was supposed to be fulfilled over a period of 10 years. It's not dated or signed. But Twitter detectives found out that the logo there is actually the centennial logo for the company, which I guess because they turned 100 years old in 2020, I believe. So why would they be using that logo? So I'll insert some pictures here for you to see. So just wanted to add a little update. So yeah, ACLU had a hand in Amber Heard's op-ed. The only thing I'm worried about with this is because I guess she could try to say, oh well, it was their idea or they helped me in a way to kind of shift blame. It's going to be interesting to see what comes of this. Will they be added as a defendant? Can they be added as a defendant? Is that wise? It's hard to say. Like I said, there's pros and cons. Yes, they're a charity, but they have lots of money behind them. They probably know powerful people and definitely would make Amber's side more powerful as well, because they both would have, well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, not necessarily, because if Amber's defense is trying to throw ACLU under the bus, then they would be technically on opposing sides. So there'd be like 3 separate, like they couldn't share a lawyer or anything like that. They'd have to have their own. I don't know. Does that make sense? If that's the route that Amber is wanting to go, if they want to link up together, that would be one thing. But if Amber wants to try to shift the blame onto ACLU, if they do get added, then technically they will be going against each other as well. Oh, it's already like a lot. It's very contentious. So adding another party to that, like that's gonna get even more messy. It's a little late in the game be adding a new party, so I don't know what the court rules are with that. Like it was very clear that people would know who she was referring to. I think she should have just left it alone. There was, and also the fact that there was an NDA in place, kind of vaguely referencing it is still technically a violation of NDA in most cases. Her own lawyer basically warned her against that. Like I said, she should have listened. She would have saved herself a lot of money, a lot of headache, a lot of bullshit. So yeah, I guess that's it. What do you guys think about all this? What do you predict is gonna happen now? I honestly don't really know. It's hard to say with just like reading this little article here. Maybe this could be grounds for Johnny Depp to be able to get further discovery. Doubt that Amber did give them the 3.5 million, but we'll see what happens with that. Maybe this goes even deeper, who really knows. So I'm just really waiting for Elon to get deposed. Like, let's get it together, people. But yeah, anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and if you're interested in seeing my videos again, maybe turn on the bell, because sometimes YouTube doesn't send out notifications. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.